computer is not off for 3 to 4 years, you know. The CPU
Yes,
on
that's right.
already. Yeah, that one
Very
is gone.
true. Very true. Yeah.
That's right. Okay, we have another 3 minutes to go. Oh, we
You're
have,
all from KL, huh? All from KL?
yes, we are from KL. Faculty of Social Sciences and Humanities, Kuala Lumpur.
Same faculty as you,
Yeah.
Language
Okay.
Academy. We are over here in KL.
Amazing. I actually I went through one of your WebEx meeting, and you actually explained on content analysis.
Oh, that was me, I think.
Yeah,
Really,
yeah.
it's
FB, right?
it was amazing. Yeah. So you must be
Hoping to share more with the students, but our schedule are packed. I cannot just seem to slot in, even reading my students' work. So we've got to like take a step back and just breathe. If not, it will be overwhelming. But every once in a while, we will try to revisit content. Content subject. For those working on CDA, discourse analysis, you need that basis, right? Sometimes it's
Yeah.
just good to have a talk on it. Yeah.
What about you?
More and more people are coming.
Yeah. We have,
Abu Sid.
Assalamualaikum, yes. Hello and very good morning, doctors and participants. How are
yeah.
you?
Good, good. Where are you from?
Yeah, I'm from Libya, actually.
Yeah, interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, Faculty of Civil Engineering, GB.
So you must be wondering what was that? Dr. Farah was talking content analysis.
Yeah,
All of you deal with machine.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's nice to be here
Yeah.
today.
Which
Thanks for this
semester are you
session.
in?
I'm third semester.
First. Oh,
Yeah,
it's good to have
third.
Okay.
Good.
Have you presented your proposal?
Yeah, last semester. Yes.
Wow, that's good.
Oh, that's great.
That's good.
Yeah, yeah.
You're working on your results now?
Actually, I want to start a lab work, but unfortunately, as you know, everything locked down here and everywhere, I think. Yeah.
Some delay in
But
your progress then.
yeah. But the time, maybe this time for doing some research. I'm just started to doing my review paper. Since I don't
That's
have
good.
any experience about that, I am facing a little difficulty for that.
Okay,
No,
everyone,
no
it's
worries.
9. Can we start?
But today, I think I'll solve this problem as the title of this webinar. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna
Thanks a
start.
lot.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the workshop. My name is Nur Hasmiza. You're at turning your thesis into a research paper. We have Dr. Wan Ashura, Wanur Ashura, and also Dr. Wan Farawani. We are the facilitators for today's session. Okay. So all of you are in WebEx. This show is also streamed to SPS website. SPS Facebook. So if you have any comments, anything you want to ask, okay, besides raising your hand and ask us, you can also chat, okay, use the chat function to ask any questions to us. Okay, so these are the things that you need to have with you in order to join, in order to, to do this workshop. You need to have your laptop, definitely. Okay, I think all of you here are using your laptop. If you are using your phone, it would be better for you to have your laptop beside you at least, because we need you, or we're going to ask you to do some practice, okay, on the turning your thesis, some parts of your thesis into your research paper. Okay, and then of course you need to have your thesis draft, your chapter to date, and some coffee perhaps, okay, or plain water like me. Okay. You can have your food beside you. You can have your children around you, no problem. As long as you get benefits from this workshop, we don't mind. Okay, we understand all of you are working from home, or most of you are working from home. So it's okay. Okay. And the most important thing, we hope you have the joy for learning new knowledge. Okay, feel free to ask us questions. We are also learning from you. Okay. So let us share our knowledge together. Okay. Okay. So and again, if you have any question, you can just post in the chat box. Okay. The three of us will try to answer the questions. Okay. So let's start with the workshop outcome. Okay, what is the outcome that we hope to have from this workshop? We hope you can actually come up with the draft of an extended abstract for any conference. But for today, we would like to focus on IP Docs 21, a venue where you can actually submit your research paper. Okay, this IP Docs 21 will be held in September, on 25th of September. So we hope by attending this workshop, you get some input, and then you'll be able to submit your extended abstract to this workshop. But of course, you can also submit your extended abstract to any conference. Okay, and then we hope to have we hope to have winners for best 10 extended abstracts. Okay. So you are going to, once you try out how to do this abstract, okay, you are going to submit your abstract through Google form. So this is the form. This is the link to the form. Okay, I'm going to share this link through the chat later. Okay. And then you can also have this QR code. Just go straight to the to this Google form, where if you try it out today, we hope you can submit it before 9 a.m. tomorrow. Okay, and then from there we will choose the 10 best winners. The 10 best winners will get something from SPS as a reward for you. Okay, so winners will be announced by SPS through your email. Okay, so this is the team, the facilitator. Okay, I am Nur Hasnisa. You can call me Nomi. I'll be doing some introduction to IP Docs. Okay, I'll be sharing with you some benefits of attending conferences, and perhaps how to seek help from experts. Okay, and then we will have Dr. Farawani. Okay, she is going to share with us the differences between thesis and research paper. And she's going to share with us how to determine focus of your research paper. Your thesis is so thick, right? So how can you write something from this very thick document? So she's going to share with us, okay, on this. And then we also have this very beautiful lady, Dr. Wanur Ashura, okay. Her slot is going to be more on what they called it, hands-on, all right, just like Dr. Farah as well. Okay, she's going to help us. She's going to share with us how to find reputable journal conferences. All right, that's why you need to have your computer. Then you can practice, and then we can share our findings together. She's going to share with us what is Scopus Index, what is non-index, what is conference proceedings, what are all these big themes, big jargons when you start and entering your postgraduate degree, or you start to have all these things. Okay, so this is the venue where you can ask anything, okay, about all these things. All right. So I think some of you have actually joined conferences, but started their postgraduate journey. Okay, so actually when you join conferences, you get so many advantages. First of all, networking, okay? You will get networking with other researchers. I especially like when I get to meet experts from my field and also other field, So it's like a relaxed environment, but actually is going to be something that is very beneficial for all of you because of networking. Okay, so try to find conferences that will give you this chance, okay, where you can do a lot of networking. All right, you can share your research finding with others. When you I know in the beginning stage of doing your PhD or doing your research, you feel like you're so small. I had the same feeling as well. I was so small in terms of my research. I still had a lot of things I need to learn. Okay, but it's okay. Those who join the conference are not your examiners. All right. So you can get feedback from others. Then you get to know what are the current research field. Okay, research in your field actually. You can see what others are doing. All right. You can also meet and also seek your potential examiner. That this is the time when you can have casual chat with them, right? I still remember when I joined one conference while I was doing my PhD, I got to meet my examiner actually, the examiner himself. And I had a chat with him, I had a coffee with him, and you know, it is a relief to be able to meet the examiner and you know really had a casual chat with him actually. So then you get to see, you can actually ask anything about his perhaps a current work, you know. So it's a place for you to meet all the scholars. So join some conference while doing your PhD research. Okay, some photos that I had while I was doing my PhD. Uh, uh, like what I told just now, this is the venue where you can have a lot of networking with the others. These photos were taken in Exeter while I was doing my PhD, and also the one and some of them are actually taken in Sydney, Australia. The one the one this one the guy the English guy with me wearing this green tudung, okay? He is actually John Traxler. If any of you are doing research on mobile learning, you must know he is actually the person, okay, the person who is an expert in mobile learning. So he's actually my examiner. Very, very humble guy, you know. But of course, he's very professional when he assess my thesis. But it's a good thing, you know. This is the time when you can actually meet these people and you know talk to them. And most important thing, the environment is not as stressful as you know in like while you are having your viva session, right? It's just a relaxed avenue for you to meet the expert. And then you can also get to know uh, the the latest research. Okay, my research is on mobile learning. So this photo here, the one when here, the one on the left, okay. This is actually when I tried the Google Glass, okay, in back in 2014 before it was discontinued because of security issue, right? If you still remember about mobile learning, ID's mobile learning conference is actually a venue where all companies with mobile devices, okay, would actually showcase the latest product that they have. My pictures in the middle here is actually a picture of me trying out a music player that comforts kids with autism. You see here, I'm wearing like a backpack, right? This backpack is actually for the to be worn to be used by the autism kids. Okay, and if you can see there, I was holding a phone, right? And there's a Beethoven there. So that music was actually comforting the autism kids. You know, you get it through vibration and it goes to the ear. So it's good to be inspired when you attend this kind of conferences. Of course, I show these photos because my research is on mobile learning. So when you talk about mobile learning, usually we want to know what is the latest device, right? So this one is actually ID's mobile learning conference. On the one on the left was held in Turkey, and the one on the right was actually held in Sydney. Okay, all right. Let me show you some video about IP Docs 21. Since I told you just now, right? We like to promote you to join IP Docs. Okay, let's take a look. Can you hear? Can you hear me? Okay. Right. Okay, so that's some introduction about IP docs, okay? Like what I told just now, IP docs will be held on 25th of September, but now you can start sending your extended abstract. Okay, so this is actually a venue where you can you can share your industry-driven research, or in other words, your research which are related to problems or issues in workplace. And then, like what just now I heard some of you mention that you are actually doing a research which is related to your workplace. So this is the venue where you can actually present or share uh, your findings to the other researchers. It can be a complete research and it can also be an ongoing research. What are the themes that you can have in IP docs? We have engineering, we have social sciences, and we have science and technology. All right. So this is the website. Feel free to go to this website and start sending your extended abstract. So today, like what I mentioned just now, we are going to have some practice on how we can actually do or prepare the extended abstract. Okay, so these some elements of these are the elements in extended abstract. If you have all this, you can submit it. All right, you title, all of you have title, authors and affiliation, abstracts, keywords, introduction, materials and methods, results and discussion, conclusion, acknowledgement and references. If you go to the website, you even have the template. Just download the template and put your writing inside. Using the template. How you are going to do it? That's why you are here joining this workshop. We're gonna help you. We're gonna assist you on how to prepare for your extended abstract. Okay. All right. I would like to pass the floor to Dr. Shura. Dr. Shura, can I stop sharing?
I think it's me.
Oh, sorry, not Shura, Dr. Wan
Yeah.
Farawan.
All right.
Should I stop sharing or you want me to
No, never mind. I will share my slide.
okay, so I stop sharing,
Same.
okay? Okay, no
Okay, thank you.
problem.
All right. Thanks, Dr. Nomi. Okay, I'll be continuing from here. Can you see my screen? Yes, yeah?
Yep.
Let me just move myself here and there. Okay. Right. So just a recap of what Dr. Nomi said just now. Why do you want to join conferences? Sometimes when you do work in silo, you feel like, it's a very lonely journey, this PhD that you're doing right now, or masters, if there are people doing masters. So it's a very lonely journey in the sense that you feel that it's you alone who's working on that particular topic. But when you go to conferences, you see other people doing different things. Although they are from the same field or different fields, you get inspiration, like what Dr. Nomi said, and motivation. You see people joining only in their first semester, third semester. They are not even close to the end of their PhD study or master study, but they still join because of the joy or the taking the inspiration from others to just move on. Yeah, so this is what participating in a conference is all about. You want to be inspired. You want people also to know that you're working on this topic that you are establishing later on, especially if you want to venture into academic career. So again, this one I would like to highlight, and I will re-highlight again after Dr. Shura's slot. Dr. Nomi also said there will be a template that you can use for IP docs submission. The one that we are providing you, especially today, is with guidance, yeah, or guidelines. So hang in there. That one would be the third part of the workshop. But just as a glance through, this will be what we will be doing on. when we submit an extended abstract anywhere, yeah, not just IP Docs. So coming back to our title, turning your thesis into a research article or research paper, what does it entail? And for you to move on, you need to know the differences. So these are some of the things that I will highlight. There are 7 elements that I will highlight, starting with the length, yeah? Okay, as you know, the length of a thesis is much longer than a research article. Research article typically is between, if you're talking about extended abstract, it's between 4 to 6 pages or 7 maximum. If you're talking about a full research paper, probably between 8 to 25, maybe, yeah? So the differences in the length means that you need to be concise and you need to shorten what you have in your thesis. Now, why do you want to turn your thesis into a research article? Let me show you my thesis, how thick they are. So thick. You know, if you throw this to someone, highly likely they will pass out, yeah? So why do you want to turn your thesis into a research article? Can't you just do your research paper from scratch? You can, but you need things to put in. So what the thesis helps you is, this is almost like an ingredient for you to devise a good research article. Why? In a thesis, you have your introduction, literature review, methodology, results and discussion. You've got your conclusion if you're already completing it. If you're not, it's a work in progress. But there are things that you write in your thesis that can help you. Yeah, you take out or you sift out important information. So in terms of length, this is the difference between 200 plus pages, turning it into you know, 4 pages for extended abstract, or 6, or a full paper of probably 20 pages. Can you put everything in? No, yeah. So let's see how we can do it. So in each section of the manuscript, it has to be shortened, just like the one in the previous slide. You've got your introduction, yeah. So usually, you have to select and see what are the key elements that you want to take out for this particular paper, yeah. So you cannot tap into everything. You've got to narrow down your focus. And however you want to shorten it, you must remember to keep the essence of the study. What is the essence? You don't run away from it, yeah? And leave out redundant details. Sometimes in a thesis, we reiterate, we reinforce our points made earlier because you want to convince the reader, yeah? Even different types of audience play a significant role in how you write a thesis and how you write a research article. So the first one is in terms of length. So because it's too lengthy, you need to shorten it. Yeah, the next one is the abstract itself. Yeah, abstract, ironically, is the first thing you read, but when you draft a paper, that's the last thing you do, because it encapsulates everything that you have done or you have covered in a paper. So being the heart of the article or the thesis, it has to be strong. It has to be standalone. Yeah. So in a thesis, the abstract is typically longer than 350 words. So in the case of UTM especially, your abstract can be up to 1 page. Yeah. So it's about 500 words for 1 page. But for a research article, it must be written between 150 to 250 words typically, yeah. But in the case of IP Docs, the maximum number of words for the abstract is, I think, is 200 words, yeah. What is important to know here is the abstract is the only piece of work that the organizers, if you submit to a conference, will see. Yeah, they cannot see your full paper yet, but this is the determinant, yeah, when they want to decide whether your paper gets accepted or not. Yeah, so it's the only piece of work that will be judged. in a way. Yeah, so it needs to be standalone, where this is the heart of your paper. You have to have these 4 items: introduction. You've got to cover what triggered you to do your paper or your study, what methodology did you employ, and the results that you obtain, as well as what is your so what answer. What do you envision going ahead? Yeah, the conclusion. And of course, it functions as the selling factor of your work. Yeah, right. So that is in terms of abstract. We will have a look at this later when we do the hands-on session. Yeah. And then, of course, the introduction. We move on to the difference in terms of introduction. In a thesis, we usually have a very detailed introduction where you demonstrate your familiarity with the existing literature through an exhaustive literature review. Yeah, this is where you cite people from the most recent one to the impetus of the review or the study. Yeah, the prominent scholars. Yeah, but in a research article, the introduction is rather succinct. You don't need to tell this. Why? Because the audience of a research paper are already experts, or people uh, who are familiar with what you're saying. So you don't have to say it again. Yeah. It includes only those that are required to understand the gap in the research that you're doing that led to the the start of the study, your study. So in a research article, compared to a thesis, you just focus on one research question. You take one of your research question in your thesis. Sometimes even one research questions can be subdivided into few things, especially if you go deep. Yeah. So you just focus on one. So while you are listening to me, you can flip through your thesis if you have them in print, or you can just scroll your soft copy of your thesis introduction. You just select one research question that you want to work on today. Yeah, the most confident that you want to kickstart. Yeah. And then we move on to the methods. Now that you have established why you wanted to do it in the introduction, this is where you tell people how you do it. So in a thesis, usually we include a very extensive discussion of the research approach and methodology, why you adopt interview, for example, or why you adopt this kind of experiment. You need to tell, because you are convincing the examiners why you do the way you do it. But in a research article, you have a more sort of like a more controlled presentation of methods, where your discussion is only limited to describing what details of the methodology used for that research question that you have identified earlier. So probably your research question 1, for example, you only use review of literature. Probably if you think of doing a review paper, yeah, so your only method is collecting data from past studies. Yeah, so as opposed to someone who uses lab work, so he or she needs to describe what kind of testing did they do in their paper for that particular research question, not the entire study. Okay, so a comprehensive discussion of the research approach is not required in a research article. You don't have to justify why you use interview and why you say, oh, interview according to Donye 2007. No, you don't have to do that. Only in thesis. Yeah. Then after you have established and you have told how you do it, this is the platform where you talk about what you get, yeah, the results. So in a thesis, you have to report each and every result in considerable detail, A to Z. Yeah. In a research article, I'm not saying you cannot be detailed. You have to, but you only touch on the main findings. You don't have to show, for example, if you use 300 samples, you cannot possibly write findings of 300 samples only in one paper. Yeah, it's going to be very taxing and it's going to be a bit imbalanced. Probably you have too much of results, but very few on literature review. You cannot have that. You have to have the portion. Yeah. So the common problem among students, including myself when I was a student and I'm still learning, yeah, reporting results in their thesis that are not strong enough. You're just telling, for example, if you do some testing, okay, I got this, I obtained this and that. But what do you make out of it? This is what you get. So what? The so what is often missing. So when the so what is not being told in your thesis, it's not strong enough. Yeah, it's not sufficient just to tell what you see, but what do you make out of it? That's the more important. That's the PhD there. Yeah. In journal articles, there are strict standards of reporting that should be followed, which we will cover. Here in this particular workshop, we are going to cover the standards of reporting in an extended abstract. Yeah, but you can use and implement that to your full article publication as well. So report results that are directly relevant to the research question and backed by strong evidence. This is where you cite other people's studies, yeah, and results of findings. And you may also want to include secondary findings as supplementary information. But if you are doing a review paper, of course, your secondary findings become your primary, yeah, because you are reporting on past studies, right? And then we move on to the discussion. So what? Okay, just now you're just reporting what you get from your analysis, content analysis, your observation, your experiments. Now is what can you make out of it? So in a thesis, typically they are more detailed, providing thorough interpretation of all results. This is because you need to show your complete understanding of their data. Okay, and in a research article, what you need to do is it has to be clear and to the point. Okay, sorry, my son is A. In a thesis, students need to, okay, demonstrate their interest in future research directions by engaging extensive speculation. This is happening in a thesis, but not in an article. Yeah. And for it to be a good research article, you try to avoid repeating your results. Sometimes when I did some review of journal paper as well, not many, but what I see is sometimes even the phrasing in your abstract, it appears again in the body. So which is not good. As a reviewer, you would say, this is not good. You're just merely repeating. It's almost copying and pasting, which is not really a good way of writing. You've got to vary your sentences and phrases so that people know this person who writes this paper knows everything that he is doing or she is doing. Okay, so it has to be clear to the point in the discussion. And then, of course, comes the references. If I see my reference section, I think I've got more than 20 pages of references. Can you have 20 pages of references in your research article? Of course not, yeah? So in a thesis, it should be exhaustive. The more you read, the more you know of things, but not everything you read you have to cite, yeah? You've got to make informed decision. In a research article, it should be, because of the length is shorter than the thesis, your citations are also a bit more limited. But from experience, a professor once told me that if you wish to write in a Q journal, your references should be more than 30. Yeah, for you to when you read more than 30 papers, meaning you've got a wider worldview of the issue. Yeah. So, but sometimes journals do specify the maximum number of references that needs to be included. They don't want to have too much. They don't want to have too little either. So the best thing would be if you have targeted research, journal that you wish to publish in there, which will be covered by Dr. Shura just after my slot. People were saying that if you wish to publish in that journal, at least you cite some papers from the journal, at least 3. That was what I was told. Yeah, at least 3 from the journal that you wish to publish. Why 3? And why do you need to cite? If these papers get accepted in the journal, and if you can mirror the way they write, highly likely your paper can also be published there as well, because you have somewhat followed the standards. Yeah, remember we talk about strong standard. Yeah, yes, you will get the slide later at the end of the session. Yeah, and you include works, of course, that have been cited in the article. Sometimes when you take from theses, you tend to just, okay, first what you do is typically you copy and paste first, and then you trim it down, right? Sometimes in the process of trimming it down, there are some citations that you accidentally missed, or you didn't take for the final draft, but it's still there in the references. People do also take note of the reference list that you give. Yeah, be careful with the year. You don't simply just put. Yeah, sometimes people make that mistakes as well, especially when we are doing or reading so many previous works, right? So those are the 7 elements, starting with the length, and then we look at the abstract. Everything on your right side is shorter than the left. So, but shorter doesn't mean that the quality is lower. Yeah. If anything, a research article is a succinct piece of writing that is read by experts in the field. The way you write it is different. You cannot just take your sentences from your thesis and just put it in the research article. It has to have a slightly higher level of a writing style in a research article, yeah, because of the conciseness and succinctness of the nature and genre of research article. So this is just the common differences. Later on, after Dr. Ashura's slot, I will be coming in and talking about the components of an extended abstract, and one where you can work on your piece of draft. Yeah. So for now, I will stop here and I will come back to you after Dr. Shura's slot, and we will see the components of the extended abstract. So with that, I end my slot and I will pass over to Dr. Ashura for her slot.
Okay, thank you,
Let
Dr.
me stop
Farah.
sharing.
So see, it's not long as compared to your thesis, right? Dr. Farah has actually shared with us the 7 elements, the differences between thesis and your paper. Okay, shorter paper does not mean that the quality is not there, as mentioned by Dr. Dr. Farah just now. Your paper requires more controlled presentation in terms of your introduction, literature review, methodology, and conclusion, right? Before I invite Dr. Shura, do you have any questions to Dr. Wan Farah? Anyone? No questions? Anybody?
Sorry.
Sure.
Regarding to the extend abstract, which I hope they will extend the deadline as well. For example, I'm doing a review paper. For example, I don't have any problem for the abstract, title, keywords, and introduction, starting from the results and methods and discussion. how can I obtain my material and methods such since it is a review paper?
Let me
That's a
answer the
very
first
good
part.
question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first part is, are you going to get the extension for this abstract submission? Yes. The answer is yes. It's not going to be 30th of June. It's going to be 15th of July actually. Okay. And over to you,
Good,
Shura,
good.
Farah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that good question. Yeah, because this is a question that students will be wondering, what will I do in the methods and materials section when you write a review paper? Well, you don't have materials, right? For sure, for a review paper. But what you can say is you tell how you do the review process. Where do you get most of the papers from? Or you can talk about the timeline. So the papers that you reviewed are between 2008 to 2012 on certain topics. Yeah, Abu Sif? So
Yes.
you tell the process of you collecting all the papers that you are reviewing. A review paper is a very good paper, but sometimes people do say that a review paper should be reviewed by an expert in the field. But will try. Yeah, I have published a review paper. A review paper is very taxing in terms of content. Yeah, you've got to know what you're talking about, and you've got to know what most people have been working on. So the references for a review paper would be longer than a typical research article, probably close to 50 or more. Yeah, because it's a review paper. And you must when you write a review paper, you've got to have a sample from another published review paper for you to know what people have been covering when they cover a review paper. Because sometimes we may as well just review at surface value or at face value. uh, but it's good to have, and I'm happy to know that you're working on a review paper. A review paper are likely to be cited more than a paper that you write from one of your research questions, because like us, when we try to find a paper, we would want to know more things in one. So if it's a review paper, is often very highly cited because it's a one-stop center. They don't need to read what you have reviewed. Yeah, so your paper becomes a reference point at one point or another. So probably the first year after your publication of your review paper, not many people cited your paper. But over the course of, I see a pattern in my review paper. Many people are starting to cite my work because they have finally found my paper. Yeah, so hang in there. When you write a review paper, you will be cited, but just have a sample that you have along for you to see what people often cover when they write a review paper. I hope that answers your question, Abu Sif. In
Yes.
terms of
So
yeah,
mhm. Yeah, so
yeah,
to sum up this part for the material and method, I can talk about the method, how get the previous studies,
yes,
the years and so on. Okay.
yeah,
At the same time, what about the results and discussion for review paper?
okay. Usually, okay, this is I'm talking this mainly from my experience. Yeah, so for the results section, what I do is I do the comparison between in my case, I reviewed different types of approaches. Yeah, so in the review section, my heading was similarities and differences between approaches. So that is my result. Your review is your result, right? So you can have a subheading on similarities, for example, or if you are reviewing a method, so you can have a subsection on method number 1, method number 2, and method number 3. That will be your review section. It's not confined in terms of when we say a review section, it doesn't have to be, no, sorry, results. It doesn't have to be confined to just results from experiments or analysis or anything. It depends on the nature of your paper. If it's a review paper, that's why I said going back to having one sample paper or a review paper. You see what are the components that they cover. So often in my case, in my review paper, the results section, I substitute it with similarities and differences of approaches. Yeah. Right. So there's a question in the chat box. If it's an ongoing research, how should we do with the results part? Okay, probably a review paper or concept paper, right? So maybe you have done like a preliminary investigation or pilot study. You can also talk about that as well. Yeah. Again, this concept of publishing in a research journal or publishing a research paper, we have this conception that it has to be complete in order for you to start writing a good paper. Well, you can start from small. In this case, like an extended abstract, it doesn't need to have much. It's just 4 pages. You cover just the relevant literature review. You cover the proposed method. If you have not already start initiating, you can talk about your proposed method. Yeah. And then probably a concept paper, you envision what results would you get. So that's a concept paper, I think. Yeah. So there's no problem. You don't need to say that, oh, I've got to have a solid, analysis. A research paper is just short. You can maneuver your narration of what you're doing. Yeah. And if a review paper, there's another question. If review paper will be presented for the conference, how should we do the result part? I think I've answered that just now. You can, narrow it down to what you review. Is it a method? Is it a theory? Is it an approach or anything? Yeah. Can we do self-citation? Okay. Will there be an issue with turn it in if you have duplication in our thesis? That's why you cannot have a copy paste style. It has to be paraphrased, written differently. Yeah, the gist or the essence is there. Yeah, but not the entire thing, like the whole paragraph. That is not good, right? Okay. I think I have overshadowed Dr. Shura's slot. Sorry.
Problem.
Okay, over to you. Over to
Okay.
Okay, over to you, Dr. Shura.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, I will start share my screen first. Okay. Can you see my screen? All right. So, no response means everything is okay, I assume. Okay. So I am Wanur Ashura, Wan Adnan. I have been teaching at UTM for 13 years. Um, I am an alumni of UTM actually, so I know quite a lot about UTM as a postgraduate student, and so forth. But today, my sharing slot is about choosing the right and reputable conference or journal, because I think this is quite important as we work in the academia, or some of us are postgraduate students, some of us are research officers or research assistants. So these are the knowledge that I think we should know. All right. So before we decide on what kind of conference that we wish to submit our paper, let's think of this question. How reliable the conference calls that we receive in our mail inbox? I'm sure that everyone of us here must at least have received one or two conference calls in our mail inbox. But we have to always ask ourselves, is this conference calls reliable? And that leads to another question, that is how to find for a reputable conference in our field. So yes, all right. So in my case, I usually will list the criteria of the conference that I intend to submit my paper to. For example, if that conference accept my paper as conference proceeding, sometimes it's maybe just a standard abstract. So that means the pages are less than the actual paper. All right. And I also will look for a conference where my manuscript can possibly be accepted to an index journal. Okay, so I'm sure that we, most of us here have presented in conference, so we know what we are looking for, right? And with the current COVID-19 condition in situation now, so I will only opt for virtual conference. Okay, so where can actually we can possibly find the information on conference? So one of the websites that we can look the information at is conferencealert.com. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my PowerPoint. So let's go to the website itself. Okay, conferencealert.com. Okay, as you can see here, this is conferencealerts.com, and with so many information, and this is specifically for teaching and learning conferences. You can choose your own area or field. For example, okay, this is the landing page of the conferencealerts.com. So you have engineering and technology, health and medicine, veterinary, and even by countries. Okay, so of course, let's try to look at this one just now on teaching and learning and education. Okay, so we have so many conferences listed here. Okay, I need to click here. Okay. All right. So you can always choose any conference that is related to the work, to your work, to your area. But again, my practice is that I will always do some background checking on the conference, because sometimes when we go to the conference web page or website, there are so many information that I can say, this is based on my experience, yeah. Not all conference give misleading information on their website. So as a user, as a consumer, we need to always check the credibility of the conference. Okay, so right, let's try and look at one of the conferences here. Okay, I think I have choose one just now. Okay, so all right, so this is one of the conferences on teaching and learning. It is called the 13th Asian Conference on Education. Okay, so it will be held in Tokyo, Japan. So I think this is a hybrid conference that will be held in November 2021. Okay, so this is the normal landing page of any conference website. So what enticed my interest is that, okay, so this conference seems to, it is claimed here, yeah, this conference is associated with the Scopus and BOEJ listed Journal of Education. Okay, so these are the key information that we always have to pay attention to. Sometimes we want to go for an early bird fee, so just take note of this important information. Anything else? Any chances for me to submit to get my paper to be published in any okay, let's see here, in any social Scopus Index journal. Okay, so you have to look for this important information whenever we go to this website, the conference website specifically. I think I saw something about, okay, all right, submission status, presentation formats. Okay, proceedings. So this is about proceedings. If you wish your paper to be published in the conference proceeding, once you have registered, please ensure that you upload your full paper, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so nothing about my paper or my proceedings will be published in a Scopus journal. So when does that Scopus journal IA4 just now? I think it's somewhere in the website here mentioned that if we have submitted, there's a disclaimer here, yeah, but I couldn't find it now. But I saw it just now that it is mentioned that once our our papers have been accepted to this conference and published as the proceeding in the proceedings, so we cannot submit to the journal anymore. Okay, the same topic, the same title. So maybe if you don't want to submit to this conference, you may just submit to this journal. Okay, the thing is, they claim that IA4 Journal of Education is Scopus Index Journal. So it's our task as the consumer, like I said just now, to check for the credibility whether this is a legit journal of Scopus Index Journal. So where can we actually go and check for this credibility of this journal? So UTM to Pustakaan Zanaria, Sultan Zanaria, our library, provide us with very good access to so many papers. So let me share with you how to check. Okay. Right. So go to the Easy Proxy UTM. You may log in using your UTM ID. If you happen to forget UTM ID, I think that's not the case because you check your DSMS, your e-learning in like maybe weekly basis. Yeah, so you shouldn't forget about your UTM ID. But whatever it is, to log into this online database, we use our UTM ID. Okay, you can check the just Google. I Google myself as well. So easy proxy UTM. So this will bring you to this landing page in which you have to click here at e-resources and click at online database, e-journals and e-books, A to Z listing. Okay. So my purpose here to show you this page is I want to check the credibility of the Scopus so-called claim as Scopus journal just now, that IA4 Journal of Education. So I click here at Scopus. So this will bring us to this page. Okay. So the journal name just now is, if we can have source title, all right, IA4 Journal of Education. Okay. I don't think so. You can check this if you don't log into the institutional login. If you don't use your login, institutional login ID. Yeah, that's the phrase. Okay, so apparently you can see that the source here, IA4 Journal of Education, is here. That means IA4 Journal of Education is a legit Scopus journal. Okay, yeah, so click at the information just now, the source detail. So definitely this one, it has been indexed in Scopus from 2018. Okay, so don't worry about that. So it's a legit Scopus journal. So that is one of the ways that we can check the credibility of any journal that we wish to submit, or even the conference. Okay, for conference, let's say the conference will be held in 2021, you may check the track record of the previous conference, the paper or the conference proceedings that was published um, the year before that, or maybe the previous session of the conference. So it's possible to check on Scopus as well. Okay. All right. So now, stop sharing this one again. Okay. Coming back to our PowerPoint. Okay. All right. So that's about deciding the conference, or looking for the legit conference, and also the journal. So Scopus journal information. All right. I need to. We have actually, all the facilitators have actually planned this activity for the participants today. So if it's possible, can you spend your 5 minutes to go to this Padlet link here? Okay, maybe someone can help me. Or it's there already, the
Yeah,
link.
it's there.
Oh yeah,
I've shared the
thank you very
Padlet link.
much, Dr. Naomi.
Okay.
So click at the link here. So I need all of you to find possible conferences. It's like knowledge sharing as well in your field. Yeah, and look for this information. The first one is the date and mode of the conference, and type of publication, whether non-index, corpus index proceedings, or Web of Science proceedings. I don't want to talk about the difference just yet, because my next slides will be talking about non-index, corpus index, and Web of Science index proceedings or journals. Okay, would you mind to spend these 5 minutes to find the information? We have actually, uh, we have identify 4 main areas here: social science, engineering, science and technology, and multidisciplinary. If you think that you're an education, you can put under the social science. Okay, if you are if you're doing something on applied linguistics, you can also put something under social science. So you may choose any that is related, any areas that is related to you. Okay, can we go there to the Padlet?
Maybe we can share the Padlet
Yep.
here. I mean, for us to see.
Yes, I will share.
So far, are you all okay? Can we
Everyone
get a
okay? Any
reaction? Thumbs
question?
up or
Okay, so these are some of the conference that we have identified under
okay? It's
multidisciplinary.
can I respond to Abu Sif's comments or remark in the chat?
Okay.
It's not, there's nothing for engineering. What we want to do is you find the conference that you wish to participate. Because if I were to do to search for engineering, I may not know the keywords or the one that
Yes.
best suits your
Mm.
topic or your area. So it's actually this is massive search from all 74 of us who are here in the WebEx. Yeah. All right. So I see people putting chemical engineering and all that is good. Yeah. Keep
Yep.
doing
Keep
it
it
so that,
happening.
yeah.
This is
So
going to
that
be a
after,
very,
yeah.
this is going to be a very good platform for all of us actually to share, conferences. So don't forget to save this link and you
Yeah.
can use it for
So
future.
it's not only two conferences for social science. They are, I put up the first one and the second person put up the second one. So if you are Nor Abaya, put on another one, there'll be three or more. Yeah. So it's you finding and putting it here. So you keep the link, star message, the Padlet link, anytime you want to go back to this again, your friends are sharing with you what they find. So more heads are better than one. This is what the session is about.
Engineering is leading there.
Come on, where are the others from the other fields?
Yeah.
The augmented reality here, should it fall under science and technology or social science?
Yeah, I think it's more on science and technology, right?
But that depends on what kind of specific area that they're looking at.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do this for 5 minutes. So we have about 3 minutes left. It is preferred that you could also identify whether your proceedings or your manuscript will be accepted in any kind of uh, indexing. Yeah, okay, like this one, for example, this one. Yeah, okay. Because our discussion after this will lead us to discussing whether it's a Scopus index, what is different between World of Science index or ISI index, and what about non-index journal.
I think engineering discipline has a lot of conferences they can go to, yeah? You see?
And the chances to get published in ISI
Yeah.
index journals is higher compared to us in
Yeah,
social sciences.
yeah, so if you see the pattern engineering conferences are many of the conferences are Scopus indexed. It's probably I think it's natural for them to have Scopus or WOS, mainly Scopus, but social science, not that many, but not to say that there are none, but you've got to, like what Dr. Shura said just now, you've got to find carefully, you know.
Okay, so we allow another maybe 2 minutes. Okay, if you have something from multidisciplinary apart from what we have shared here, please yeah, share. You may go to the conference alerts.com just now and look for if you have no idea where to find information from. So I repeat, you may go to the conference alerts.com just now, the website, and find any related conference in your area or in your field. Wow, someone even shared the contact person. Thank you. Okay, I think we'll stop here. Dr. Nomi and Dr. Farah, you can always chip in and comment about the sharing here. Okay, we'll go to social science. We'll go to engineering first. All right, so we have IEEE TAIL 2021 here, okay, or on site or online in China. Okay, how do you know it's Scopus Index? What is listed, or what kind of publication that will be accepted? Whether it's your conference proceeding or your full paper. So that information is one of the information that you really have to determine and to identify whether this conference will accept our paper or maybe our conference proceedings, or they will ask us to write a full paper, and this selected paper will be submitted to Scopus Index or ISI Index journal. Okay, so these are some of the important information that you really have to find. Okay. All right, and then we also have fifth International Conference on Global Sustainability and Chemical Engineering. Okay, it will virtual conference in September. All right. Okay. Accepted abstract will be offered the opportunity to submit full paper to be published to these potential journals. Okay. So if I can see here, all of these, this is Scopus Index, all right, with impact factor. This is Scopus Index as well. All right. So yeah, you know that your paper, there is a possibility, it's not a must, but there is a possibility that your paper will be accepted to be published to this potential journal. Okay, that's a good thing, right? Okay, so this one, online conference on engineering and innovative materials in Tokyo, Japan in September as well. So accepted papers will be published in a volume of key engineering materials. So what is this? Is this a book chapter? Is this a journal? So these are the things that we have to determine. Okay, all right. So submitted for EI companions. Okay, Scopus. It is clean here as Scopus, but really you have to check. Okay, all right. So I think enough with engineering. Okay, but again, remember that do check for this kind of information whether your paper will be published as whether your paper will be published as conference proceedings, or they will ask you to write the full length paper to be submitted to any journals. So you have to check for that. All right, and we'll go back to social science. Okay. The sixth International Academic Conference on Humanities and Social Sciences we had in Paris in November 2021. I don't think so we are still allowed to travel to overseas just yet by November, I think. All right, so not yet. All right, so not sure of the mode, whether the mode is fully online or hybrid. Nothing about the information whether your paper will be accepted as proceedings and whatever, right? Nothing on that. Okay, so I have another one. All right, let's look at this one. Science and technology. Okay. Nothing much on the information whether your paper will be accepted as conference proceeding, will be published as conference proceeding, and so forth. Okay, but I believe that you got the idea or the gist of what kind of information that you should look for when we decide the conference that we wish to send our papers to. Okay, so I'll stop sharing this one. Thank you very much for participating in the activity. Okay, so I'll continue with the PowerPoint again. Right. Okay, so these points to the okay, so we since we have talked about just now, we've talked about Scopus Index Journal, whether it's a Q1, Q4 ISI Index Journal, whether it's non-index journal. So it is important that I repeat again what I said earlier, that as an academy or maybe a postgraduate student or someone who is working in the academia, to know at least what is ISI Index Journal, Scopus Index Journal, and non-index journals, or sometimes people call it a peer-reviewed journal. Okay, so why do we need to know the ways to identify the status of this indexing? Is that it is very important to check the credibility of the journal to avoid predatory journals. There's so many predatory journals. I have never been scammed, but at least maybe because I have a very strong support group in which we discuss. But so far, I am still lucky. I have not been scammed, but I do not want any UTM students or even UTM staff to be scammed as well. So that's why it is important to have this kind of knowledge when it comes to choosing which journal we wish to publish. Okay, so I'll be talking about Scopus Index Journal. What is Scopus Index Journal? The ISI Index Journal and non-index journal. I'm not going too deep in the sense that you will get this knowledge. There are courses provided by PSZ or our library on this, where to publish your manuscript or where to publish your work. Okay, so I'm just going to touch everything on surface level. Okay, so let me share or let me start with this one. Okay, non-index journal. Usually we call it peer review journal. So this is actually a skill where you have to know as well. Okay, let me open the. All right. So this is non-index journal. Okay, how to check? Usually, yeah, you may check if they claim they are Scopus Index or they are Q something something. You may check that on the website and so forth. But from the website itself, they will tell you the indexing that they have. So this one, LSP International Journal is Language Academy in-house journal. So this is one of my earliest paper that I published as a master student during that time. So the use of adverbials in the verbal production of Malay as a learner's processability approach. Okay, very lengthy and very mouthful. Okay, so there are index in my site, if not mistaken. Okay, Google Scholar, UDLH. So we know that if you are a novice researcher or a very young or less experienced, I don't want to use less experience, but I would say novice researcher, or you may start publishing your work in this kind of journal, non-index journal. So when you got the thrill, when your paper has been accepted, of course, we will go through the process of reviewing, okay, our paper being reviewed, and we got comments from the reviewers. And when your paper has been accepted to be published, you'll get the thrill that, oh, I couldn't stop here. You will keep on continuing to publish your work, okay? But it's a good start for you or for us to start publishing in non-index journal, especially for those without, maybe in your first or second semester of your PhD or master. Okay, so it's when people say you shouldn't publish your work, you're still young, you are still in your first or second semester, I beg to differ. No, you can always publish your work in, maybe if it's not in any Scopus journal, we know that Scopus journal is of high quality journals, so maybe you can start with non-index journal. Okay, all right. So that's about non-index journal. I'll be coming back to these slides again. So now it's about Scopus Index Journal, in which I have been talking about.
Can we just add here that the IP Docs 21, the publication for IP Docs 21 is actually for non-index journal. That's why it's very this is actually a very good venue for all of you, okay, to start publishing your journals, publishing your paper.
Yes, especially for novice researcher. Okay, so
And if their papers are good enough to be sent to Scopus Index Journal, they will be qualified for that. Yeah, for IP Docs, there are some Scopus Journal that we have listed in the website, I believe, Dr. Nomi?
Yes. Yes, one
Yeah,
of the journals that I can remember for social science is Botanica Journal of Social
Botanica,
Sciences. Yeah,
UPM.
so it's a UPM in-house journal. So it's a Scopus Index journals. That means selected papers in the area of social science. So you have your chance to publish your paper in Botanica if you send your paper to IP Docs 2021. IP Doc is actually organized by SPS, yeah. So no question about its credibility.
Legit.
It's a legit one. Most importantly, it's a legit one.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Sometimes,
yeah,
can I just chip in?
yes, go ahead.
When people say selected papers, what do people mean by selected papers? From my understanding, when people say selected papers, your paper is fit enough to go to a Scopus journal or to a WOS journal. The quality is there that it's a waste for you to just put it in under conference proceedings. So whenever you write, as best as possible, try to write the best that you can, not thinking about whether it's a non-index or indexed. Even if it's a non-indexed journal, if your work is good, people will cite it. Even your thesis can be cited. So don't worry too much. This is my, my way of doing it. Don't worry too much whether it's, of course, you want to think about it. But if you want to start with straight away to go to WOS, it will take you a long, long time because WOS paper, usually the waiting time is between 6 to 8 months. Yeah. A non-index is slightly shorter than that, probably about a few months or so, but not as long as WOS. The waiting list is too long, and the publication frequency is probably lower than non-indexed. Some WOS just publish once a year or twice a year. Yeah, so non-indexed probably 4 times a year or more. Scopus frequency is quite high compared to WOS because WOS takes care of the quality. So if you want to start, you start small from non-indexed, but the quality has to be there so that people would recognize your work is much more than just non-indexed. They will try their best to accommodate you to send it to Scopus or WOS if it's worthy to be published there. Yeah, so that's
Excellent.
just something that we need to ponder on. When you write well. Doesn't matter what level it is.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Farah. Echoing what she said, have my paper been rejected outright? Yes, I sent one paper to, I can't remember that, but that was during my time as a PhD student, but it was rejected after 2 hours of the submission. So when we intend to submit our paper to this journal, we have to be mentally prepared in the sense that sometimes you will get rejected outright, and sometimes they will reject, they will only tell the decision to you after like waiting for like 3 to 6 months. So but again, we have to be very ethical in the sense that don't send the same paper to different journals at the same time. Okay, sometimes the editor or the reviewers are the same person or the same people who are reviewing, who are the reviewers from the journal. So be ethical in this sense. But my important point here is we need to be mentally prepared when we are about to send our paper to this journal. Okay, so that is part and parcel, I think, in being an academic or any postgraduate students. Okay, coming back. Okay, just now I talked about non-index journal. So recently, one of my friends asked me whether I'm not going to point whether this is not any bad intention, yeah. So this is a very academic sharing based on my experience as well. Okay, because I thought I know this, but I don't. Okay, so now this, if you go to this journal landing page, Malaysian Journal of Learning and Instruction. Okay, you can see that it is indexed by Scopus. Yes, I have checked, and this journal is indexed by Scopus, so it's a legit Scopus index journal. So now I want to, let's say you are not sure, because I think we have found so many pages or journal landing page where they claim that they are a Scopus index journal. So how can we check for that? I've shown you just now. We need to go to Scopus website, but we need to log in using Easy Proxy. So now let's check whether this is a legit Scopus journal. Okay, it's using, you can use ISSN or you can use the journal's name itself. Okay, Malaysian Journal of Learning and Instruction. So you go to Scopus website just now. Okay. You have to log in using Easy Proxy from UTM PlayExec website. So choose source title if you have the journal's title. So Malaysian Journal of Learning and Instruction. I'm searching and I'm doing credibility check whether it's a legit Scopus journal. Yes, good. Okay, so click here. It's apparently, yeah, a legit Scopus journal. It has been indexed by Scopus since 2006. So this is quite a very established and credible journal. Okay, so that's no problem with Scopus. Okay, let's go back to the website of MJLI. Sorry, okay. I want to share this one, but how can I click that? Okay, this website again. Okay, give me 1 minute. Okay, okay. Can you see my screen now, yeah? Right, so go down and, oh, this is interesting. According to this website, if they use this SJR or SIMAGO gender ranking quota, it's Q1 in cultural studies. So I think this is Q1. I think this is ISI index journal. I want to claim this to my supervisor that I might be sending my paper to this Q1 journal. But again, stop first. Is this a legit ISI index journal? Okay, whenever you see SIMAGO journal ranking at UTM, we only recognize the indexings by a Web of Science. So whenever you see SIMAGO indexing, it's not I don't want to say digit because it's a different entities altogether, SIMAGO and WOS, Web of Science. But at UTM, we only accept WOS ranking. Okay, but I really want to check. I really want to ensure that this is not a Q1. Okay, how to ensure that? All right. So again, you go to easyproxy.com just now and you go to the online database. Okay, so remember the journal name is Malaysian Journal of Learning and Instruction. So under the Easy Proxy and online database, there is an option of Web of Science. So click at Web of Science and I want to try to find whether this journal is really a Q1 journal. So I put the name here, Malaysian Journal of Learning and Instruction. So I'll go to search. Okay, so what I can see here, yes, this is the journal here, but I cannot click at the journal. Okay, so most probably this journal are not, this journal in particular is not listed in the queue or quartiles of the good quartiles of the journal, the quadrant, the quartiles of the journal. So most probably it's not here because if a particular journal is a Q1 or until Q4 ISI index journal, when you click here, there is an indicator or in an indication whether this journal is Q1, Q2 or so forth. Okay, I'll show you one example. Okay, come back to this. Okay, let's say you just want to use the word learning and instruction. Any journals with that is listed in quotas. So this is what I meant by if you click at the journal's name, you can actually see the journal impact factor and the quota. So this is a legit Q1 ISI index journal. So that is one of the ways that you can identify whether this is a legit Q1 journal or not. Not saying that some journals overclaim, no, because they are using different indexing. They're using Simago. But at UTM, we do not accept Simago ranking. So we only refer, our library only refer to WOS. So if you claim to your supervisor that you have managed to publish in Q1 before you want to say that to your supervisor, ensure that you do this checking first. All right? Okay, so that's about it.
Yeah, maybe Dr. Shura, we can highlight why the need to worry about whether it's Simago or WOS. The process is the same, the torture is the same. Yeah. So, as best as you can, you try the WOS first. Yeah. Yeah. And then if you get a review that is good, just getting a review is already an accomplishment. Uh, and then if you still can't publish in the Q journals, you go downwards. You go to Scopus. If not, it's the other way around. If once you are confident, why the worry? Because sometimes you feel that you have established something, but somewhat you have been somewhat, you know, uh, it's almost a it's almost always we are using a negative word, which I don't want to do. But Simago sometimes claims that they are Q1 but in Simago, not Q1 in WOS. Yeah, so just be wary of that. And you want the fruit of your labor to be recognized as it should be. That's all. Of course, there's no problem publishing in Simago, but it's not the same as WOS. That's all.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Farah. Yes, that's right. Count as UTM requirement. Oh, that okay. Abu Saif just now asked that question. Okay, if my paper is selected by IP Docs conference in a non-index journal, will it count as UTM requirements? You have to check your status. Are you a PhD student or a master student? If you are PhD students, if you are enrolled um, from uh, from September 2016 onwards, so the publication requirement for PhD students intake September 2016 and onwards is one publication journal articles, okay, or two articles in index conference proceeding, right, before you can submit your thesis for Viva. All right. So, but the thing is, publication of journal articles should be in Scopus or ERA or WS. ERA is Excellence of Research Australia. So this is a framework of Australian research. Something got to do something along that line. But you have to publish in Scopus or WOS index journal, okay, or conference proceedings. Right. So if you ask me, maybe um, okay, I cannot answer that question. Maybe Dr. Nomi can answer the question by Saif or Dr. Farah.
Yeah, for IP Docs, it's just non-index actually. It's actually a venue for you to, to start writing your paper and send it to the experts and just get feedback from the others, Like
Yeah,
what
but
Dr. Shura mentioned just now, you have to start somewhere, right? So as a novice researcher, let's start with non-index and then see what is the kind of feedback given by the reviewers, That this one is actually a very good practice because it will increase your confidence. Before we aim for the, of course we have to aim for the for the moon and the star, right? But uh we start somewhere. So that we have some confidence, get most probably your paper won't be rejected. But the most important thing is you'll get the feedback.
yeah,
And then like what I mentioned just now during my session, during my slot, you get to meet the others, get to share your findings, get to talk to the experts and get to talk to the other people from other fields. That's the most important thing. All right? Okay.
Can I add?
Sure.
Thank
Oh,
you.
Dr. Sophie is here. Hi, Dr. Sophie.
Okay. The boss is here, so I should mute.
I think previously the Farah already mentioned, although that by default, most of the all full papers will be accepted and published to a non-index. However, if the submitted full paper is really in a good quality for Scopus, it can be considered for Scopus publication. So if you write really good, that publication can be counted as a requirement for your PhD UTM requirement. Okay.
Thank you, Dr.
So
Sophie.
Yeah.
You know, it's Sophie.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
You get it from the boss herself, yes? But
She's the boss.
but yeah. So what I would like to highlight to you, Abu Sif, since you are a first year student, first semester, if you start from here, you will only collect and accumulate a list of publication, non-indexed, indexed. I believe if you start from your first semester to publish in a non-indexed, you will find your way to go up further and further. So apart from just worrying about the publication requirement, yeah, for your graduation, you also would like to, if you go to your proposal defense, once at the end of your proposal defense, okay, by the way, I have published and I have presented my work, meaning you are giving your examiner a bit of, a sense of confidence in you that you can execute your study. Yeah, because you have gone out there and talked to other people about your work. Going to a conference sounds simple, but actually it takes a lot of courage, to speak to other people about your work. Uh, uh, Even as small as just a conceptual paper and all, because once you have to tell other people about your work, you have to really understand your work in order for you to let other people understand you. So it's a good training platform for you, not just for your study, for your proposal or for your viva, but later on, once you venture into your career, doesn't matter if it's academic or not. It's just building up your confidence on your work. So as much as it is not non-index for the conference proceeding, I would like to highlight again that if it's worthy to be published elsewhere, the SPS team would, we are even the secretariat members, yeah, we would uh, uh, fight for your paper to be published in the journal that we have identified. So if it's fitting in there, we will try. But of course, the disclaimer is Scopus publication requires the article processing charges, as with other papers as well. Yeah, so we will try our best to do that. But if I can share my screen, yeah, this is the going to some of the students' question. Yeah, what is the publication requirement? Yeah, so for now, this is the requirement, right? For a master student, you must at least publish one accepted for journal article, conference proceeding, or book chapter for master students. For PhD, this is, I don't know whether this is the latest one, but at least one indexed article or
Yes.
two indexed conference proceedings in Scopus, ERA, or Web of Science. Yeah, I think I'm going to share with you. I've got the ERA list. Yeah, I will share in the Padlet that you worked on for your conference. I will put there the link to the list of ERA. At least I have the list of ERA that I
Dr.
have
Sophie, are you
now.
there? Dr. Sophie, are you there?
Can we confirm the requirement
the
for
required
publication since
Yes.
Okay.
yeah, it's the same one, yeah?
Yep.
Okay, era is bearable for you to go in. Scopus as well. Web of Science is the target for everyone, including me. But not just proceedings. Maybe it would be good to have an indexed article in WOS. This is the requirement. But you can do more, even though it's not indexed. But later on, if you wish to be the best student, these are the points or merit that you will get. Yeah, the your active status in publication, in activities, non-academic activities. So this builds up to your resume, yeah, and your profile.
Farah, we cannot hear you, Farah.
Yeah. Mute.
Sorry, I hopped your session again, Shura. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I really need it's a sharing session. That means anyone can share. I mean, Dr. Farah or Dr. Nomi can share their input. All right, so coming back to this, so again, when you have decided to which journal that you wish to publish your work, look at whether they use Simago ranking or WS ranking to confirm. Okay, and this one is the Padlet link just now, the earlier Padlet activity that we did just now. So again, find out whether your proceedings or your paper will be accepted to papers or sorry to journals index in Scopus or ISI index. Okay, we've got questions from just now Shahada. Okay, I think this session will be recorded and you can watch again. How can we find for the ranking? But according to Dr. Sophie, you can go to WAS website just now, use the library link and go to the journal citation report to see the ranking of the journal, whether it's indexing WAS or not. Okay, all right. So with that, I end my session here. Okay, I'll see you in a bit. Thank you very much for lending your ears, and thank you to Dr. Nomi and Dr. Farah for the insight as well. Thank you very much.
Okay, now is actually your coffee break. Okay,
Coffee break.
let's a coffee
I've got
break.
my coffee here.
Yeah, have you got your coffee, everyone? Okay, let's meet after 10 minutes. Is it okay? So time check,
Yeah,
it's
10:50.
yeah, now
10:50.
okay. Now
You
10:40.
can loosen your, do some exercise. We have been sitting too long. It's
Yeah.
been 1 hour and a half. So
We will
do
meet
some
10:50.
planking or whatever.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Wow.
Assalamualaikum. I hope you have got the much needed rest. Okay, so it's 10:50 already. Let us go to the gist of this workshop, the hands-on session. But before that, I will just give a bit of input and then we work on our own draft. Yeah, hopefully, the main objective of this hands-on workshop is for you to kickstart your publication journey, starting with IP docs. You can work on it. We hope that you will submit to IP docs, but otherwise, if you wish to work on your draft for something else that is bigger, feel free to do so, but we encourage your submission to IP docs just as a kickstart to your already flourishing publication journey. Yeah, so the rest of the session for the next 1 hour or so is to have your thesis with you. If you have it in soft copy, you open your Word file. If you have it in print, you take it and put it next to you. Yeah, right. So, okay, let's go to the next slide. What's happening? I don't want to annotate. Can I stop annotating? Okay.
Start sharing first and then right.
Okay. All right. So this is the typical structure of a paper. It doesn't matter if it's extended or the full paper, yeah, but what people normally use is the IMRAD structure. Yeah, IMRAD is the acronym for Introduction, Method, Results, and Discussion or Conclusion. So this is the IMRAD structure. Of course, for any abstract or extended abstract or paper, you will have your title, you will have you as the author, and because you are still studying under supervision, you would have to put in your supervisor's name as well. Yeah, the abstract and also the keywords. We will go through this after this, right after this slide. Yeah, so from the title, author, abstract, and keywords, what people will find are descriptive information that people will see in order for them to search for your article. Yeah, the title and who is writing the paper, which is you. So the IMRAD is the one in the yellow box. Yeah, you basically in a extended abstract or a paper, you answer the WH question. Yeah, the why, how, what, and so what. Yeah, the so what is the part where you tie everything back together. So in the introduction, yeah, this is what people normally put, and I would suggest you to do the same. What is the context of the paper? How does it fit in with other research? Of course, you want, as much as you want it to be novel, you also want it to be relatable and adding back to the body of literature. Yeah. And what is the research question? This is the nucleus of your paper. Okay, once you establish the why do you conduct the study, now you tell the reader how you did it. Yeah, so in the method section, what you do is you answer back the the ways you intend to answer the research question. What mechanism do you use? And after you have established the ways of doing it, now the reader wants to know what you get. Yeah, so that is embedded in the results section. What was the answer to the research question? You must have a parallelism in terms of the research question and what it covers in the body, which is the result. Yeah, And oftentimes you accompany your narratives with figures and tables. We will also look at that as well. Yeah. And then finally, you want to leave the reader with something to think about. Yeah. So what? This, if you reflect back on how you read a paper, when you read a particular paper, you want to know what the researcher, you know, argues, and what is the take-home message. Yeah. So as a writer now, not a reader, what do you want the readers to do after they read your paper, right? What is the significance of the study and how does it fit back to the topic? Yeah. So if it's almost like a funnel, yeah, bigger to narrow, but after having discussed your results, you want it to be applicable to the wider audience. Yeah. Through your discussion and your take-home message in your conclusion. And of course, people also want to see the references, what you have been citing in your paper. So for now, this hands-on session, you ask yourself and reflect on your current phase of the study. Just now I talked to, I know 2 people are in their first semester. So have you defended your proposal? For the 2 of you, you have not, but there are something that you want to share with the audience of your work. So probably it's a review paper like for Abu Sif just now. Yeah. If you have defended your proposal, there must be something that you can take out of your proposal. Probably you have done like a mini observation or pilot study or something that you want to take out of it and translate it into a research article. Those who have findings, it's good for you to do and to talk about your results, yeah, however small or big it is. Or are you currently collecting your data? Or are you drafting your results chapter now? You have more meat to fry and cook now, yeah, as opposed to those who are in their first semester. And now from this slide onwards, you determine what you will cover in your extended abstract based on your thesis. Remember, I said that your thesis is like